We were having a chat about internet safety, and his internet was open, and he was playing Minecraft on a public server. His eyes were locked on the game. Son, can you stop your game for 1 second, please? Dad, is this going to be another cheesy story that you tell me? What? No, of course not, I said sarcastically. He grew up with me telling stories about people encountering witches, trolls, and golems. Like parents, I use scary stories to teach morals and teach lessons. He scrunched his face a little. Daddy, those stories were scary when I was 6, but now I am 10. If you're gonna tell me an internet one, can you make it super scary, please? Those little kid stories really don't scare me anymore. I squinted at him incredibly, and he folded his arms. Dad, I'm 10. Come on, you know I can handle it. After so, I agreed, and started the story. Once upon a time, there was a child named Colton. By the look on my kid's face, he was not impressed, and gave the look that this was going to be another one of Dad's cheesy stories. I continued with the story anyway. Colton was a 10-year-old boy and joined several children's websites. After a while, he made friends with another 10-year-old boy named Giver27. They liked video games and laughed at each other's games. After 7 months of friendship, Colton's birthday, Giver27 gave Colton 6 diamonds and wanted to send him a present in real life. Colton figured that it would not be bad to give Giver27 his home address as long as they both keep it a secret. Giver27 swore that he would not tell anyone else. I paused the story and asked my son, Do you think that was a good idea, son? No, he said, shaking his head vigorously. In spite of himself, I can tell that he was getting into the story. Well, neither did Colton. Colton felt guilty that he had given his home address, and his guilt grew and grew. By the time he put on his pajamas, all he could think was the guilty thing that he had done. He decided to tell his parents the truth. Even though the punishment would be grounding, he knew having a clear conscience would be better. He squirmed in his bed and waited for his parents to come in and tuck him in. My son knew the scary part was coming, and despite his tough talk, he moved his head in excitement for the next part of the story. I spoke quietly and deliberately. He heard all the noises in the house. The clothes bouncing around in the washer in the laundry room, the brother coon in the nursery, and the branch against his wall. But there was some other noises that he could not point out. Finally, he heard his dad's footsteps coming from the hallway. Dad, I have something to tell you, Colton asked. His dad stuck his head in the doorway at a weird angle, and in the darkness, it seemed that his mouth did not move and his eyes were all wrong. Yes, son? His voice was wrong from what he knew his dad's. Are you okay, Dad? The boy asked. Uh-huh, sang the father in his new strange face. Colton rose his covers up in a false defense. Is Mom around? I want to talk to her. Here I am. Mom's head popped up in the doorway beneath Dad's. Her voice was also a word accent that Colton did not recognize. Were you gonna tell us that you gave our home address to Giver27? You shouldn't have done that. We told you never to give out personal information over the internet, she continued. He wasn't really a nice kid. He just pretended to be one. Do you know what he did? He broke into our house and murdered both of us so that he could spend some time with you. An overweight man in a wet jacket emerged into Colton's room, holding two heads that were Mom and Dad's. Colton shrieked and cried as he dropped the two heads on the ground. Unsheathing his knife, he moved into the room to work on the boy, and he screamed! My son screamed too. He put his hands over his face. But we were just getting started with the story. After hours of working on the boy, his screams were now turning into whimpers, and he was almost dead. The killer then noticed the wailing of a baby in another room. This was a special treat. He had never murdered a baby before, and he was excited about the prospect. Giver 27 left the room and left Colton for dead, and followed the cries through the room like a homing beacon. In the nursery, he walked up to the crib, picked up the baby, and held it in his arms. He moved it to the changing room to get a better look, but as he held the baby, the crying had died down. The baby looked up and smiled. Giver 27 had never held a baby, yet he bounced it like a pro. He wiped his bloody hands on a blanket so he would stroke the baby's hair. "Hey, sweet little guy." The rage turned into something warmer and softer. He took the baby home and named him Franklin, and raised him as his very own. After I finished the story, my kid stood visibly shaken. Between deep breaths, he managed to say the words, "But Dad, my name is Franklin."